What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Art Talk Music. It is July 20th, and my, oh my, where has the time flown? I'm excited to be bringing back the episodes and the podcast. And yeah, this is a conversation like many of my conversations are pre-recorded. This one is with the wonderful, the fabulous singer, Miss Tracey Whitney, and it was recorded over a year ago. Now, Tracey is the Albuquerque Musicians Union's president, as well as has quite a musical background coming from many musicians in her family. At one point, Miss Tracey Whitney was a Raylette for Mr. Ray Charles, and we get into all of those things and so much more in this podcast. I know you're going to enjoy it. I've been incredibly busy with so many things, art-related, music-related, working on my next album, but I'm excited to get back to recording some podcast intros and get back into recording some podcasts here in the very near future. I appreciate you guys for listening, and as always, I encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, rate, and share this with a friend. I look forward to bringing you another podcast in less than a few couple months, and I know that you're going to enjoy this conversation, so thank you for tuning in, and sit back and enjoy this conversation with Miss Tracey Whitney.
Well, the cattle are standing like statues. The cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me walk by. But a little brown maverick is winking her eyes. She said, oh, what a beautiful morning. She said, oh, what a beautiful day. You know I've got a beautiful feeling. I said everything is going my way. Take it, Paul.
We're live with Miss Tracey Whitney. We've got her in the house talking all these wonderful stories. Before we push record, as I told her, we should probably be recording this, but the last question usually, which we're going to start with today, that I usually always like to ask my guests is, what does jazz mean to you, and what does it mean in your life? First of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you
for being
Claudio.
on Art Talk Music, Tracey.
So excited to be here.
I'm excited to finally have you here. We talked a lot about doing this, and you were telling me something pretty awesome off air about the first jazz record, as an 11-year-old you were getting into. Tell me, let's get into that. What is...
Well, first I'll start by saying that my mother had the most amazing and eclectic music collection. My mom played everything, jazz and blues and rock and soul and everything. So I heard everything in the house. And my mom was a professional singer, and my aunts and uncles, my family was just crazy musically. And so I did find myself gravitating toward jazz. I don't know what it is. I think it's really a cerebral experience for me, so I like the complication of jazz, so it's not a simple thing. So my brain just loves the complications. And I remember that when I was like 11, the first record I ever bought was Booker T and the MG's Green Onions. It's like, who does that? At 11 years old, can I have Booker T and MG?
And to give context to people, that's the famous song from The Sandlot, of course. That's one of the songs off of that record that, in my eyes,
you knew that off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, once you played it, once we started getting into that, I mean, that's the song for me. Like, that's one of the most famous songs of Booker T's that I heard before I knew who Booker T was.
Yeah,
I found out about him way later, but you see his he does an NPR Tiny Desk concert. Which I don't know if you've seen, but it's amazing, and he does that song. And
my God.
Yeah, I mean, that song made him a lot of money, you know what I mean? It's like, we know nowadays
they're still playing
there
it.
is so much money in royalties and in, what's the word I'm looking for? Not distribution.
Sampling and stuff?
No, getting your music into like commercials and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
This aspect
soundtracks
of what,
and things.
Yeah, and the aspect of people getting into their music into things like a movie, which they still get royalties for. I mean, Michael Anthony, speaking about royalties and stuff, still to this day gets checks every once in a while of a couple cents from, the original Spider-Man or whatever.
Absolutely.
And he always shows them, with honor, he's not going to go cash a 25-cent check, but I mean, you to still get royalties of something that you did more than 30, 40 years ago is like.
Well, I'm going to tell you a crazy story. I'm the president of the Musicians Union here in Albuquerque.
That's why I wanted you to have, one of the many reasons I wanted to have you on.
And I get calls from the Federation that's the American Federation of Musicians. And I got a call from the Federation because my Aunt Mary sang with Stevie Wonder's Wonderlove. And she's the female vocal on the song As. So when you hear that song, until the rainbow burns the stars out in the sky, that's my Aunt Mary. So the Federation gave me a call and they're like, do you know how to get in touch with Mary Whitney? Because we've got royalties for her for years and years and years of royalties. And so I called my aunt.
What's up, Auntie? I got something for you.
You would think, right? And I said, the Federation called me, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, well, do you know how much it is? And I said, no, I don't. But, you need to call and, get your money. She's like, no, that's okay.
What?
Right. Now, that song has been played everywhere. It's just and she could be sitting on thousands of dollars. It could be into the,
Yes.
like thousands and thousands.
Yes.
And she wasn't even bothered enough to can you get the money and give it to your son? Do something.
That is so crazy.
The Federation is sitting on all kinds of money for people, and they're constantly trying to find people that have money coming to them because of reuse, like you were just talking about.
I mean, it's where money is at nowadays.
Right.
Speaking about musicians making a living, and the word I'm still trying to find the correct word, but of course there's copyright. There's
the reuse fees, so they're reusing it for it's in a commercial now.
Yeah.
It's in a soundtrack. It's for whatever the reasons that they're being used, but people are still getting money, and because of all of these reuse, that weren't necessarily the original idea that the songs are going to be used for, because of how music is now. It's streaming, it's doing this, it's doing that, so many different
it's the reality.
TV. It is now the reality. You've got all that cable and all that stuff, and all these different people are using money all over using the music.
And to give people out there just kind of a reference to today that they can gather is an artist like Gary Clark Jr., who just came to Albuquerque this past weekend or 2 weekends ago.
Oh, and
I'm sad I missed it too. I was in St. Louis when he came, but he is someone who I've been following since about 2012, 2011.
He's great.
He's great blues guitar player. If you haven't heard of him right now, put pause on this podcast and go pull up some of his stuff, because he's one of my favorite up-and-coming artists that is often considered kind of like the next generation of the blues guys, kind of carrying on the Jimi Hendrix-esque.
He's awesome.
He's a monster. But
great singer too.
One of his songs, just the instrumental aspect of his song, but nonetheless, his song from one of his albums called Numb was used as, I believe, a Chevy commercial or a Ford or a GMC, some truck commercial.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Chevy. And to see that, to see the commercial on the TV, to hear his song being played, that's cha-ching. That is money in his bank every single time that gets played. Or maybe he got a big check as a lump sum, but either way.
Well, even if you get a lump sum, you're still getting something every time it gets played.
I mean, and it's the reality for musicians to understand that the money is there nowadays, more so than selling records, even performing, because as we all know, it's hard to get good paying gigs. It's hard to get enough money for our musicians. We're always fighting and we're always trying to get the best for the musicians that we love and want to hire. But at the same time, there's so much competition out there, and sadly in the music industry, people are often jumping on the boat of I'll do it for less.
That kills me.
It's awful.
That whole I'll do it for pizza or beer or whatever, you're undercutting everybody.
You're not doing it for pizza or beer. You're ruining an opportunity for musicians, because correct me if I'm wrong, Tracy, but the majority of the restaurants that I've seen in the small, amount of years that I've been active on the music scene over the past 10, 12 years, you see restaurants open up and start having music, and go from having music and paying the band and giving them food to eventually cutting down on not giving you food,
right,
and then cutting down on the money, and then
cutting down on the drinks, and
on everything,
or cutting everything out, and all you're getting is the money, or then
all you're getting is the drink or the food or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the natural progression of most places that want to put music on, because they don't consider the ratio of paying that money out every night that they have a band there and making that money every night. And for whatever reason, they eventually say we need to make more of a profit. And
it's so short-sighted, because what they're not seeing is that those musicians are bringing people in. So it's not like you're not making money off of those musicians. And additionally, when you think about who else is getting paid, bussers are getting paid, wait staff is getting paid, everybody's getting paid, where the people that probably have put the most into what they're doing are the musicians. What people are seeing is the end result, not the years that it took you to get there. And so when you're talking skill set, the people that are up there on that bandstand are probably more proficient at everything that they're doing than anybody else. But for some reason, these establishments seem to think that they're the ones that shouldn't get paid. If you can pay a waiter, you can pay the band.
Yeah. It's such a crazy conversation, because I understand from the restaurant's point of view, because the reality, and we both know, Tracey, is a lot of musicians play restaurants, clubs, venues, and they expect just the venue to do their own promoting.
Right.
And often it's never enough.
Right.
Almost always it's never enough just to leave it to the restaurant. I mean, some places, there's a place in Santa Fe that I've been playing over the past couple of months that has that kind of following, to where you yourself are just part of the experience there, and people are going there to experience it. So there's always people there, and that's Tonic up in Santa Fe. It's a beautiful little cocktail
bar. I saw that.
Bar.
I had never seen that before until I saw that you posted that you were performing there, and I was like, what is this place?
It's a sick little place. What's a drag is that it's not a singer's room. You know what I mean? Like, it's not built at all in a way that's conducive to having singing be heard there.
Wow.
Which sucks. I mean, I tried it there. I've played there 4 times now, and the last time that I tried it, I definitely did that, and it went well. But singing, I mean, the acoustics in the room, as well as how small the space is, and how people talk, it goes up into the air, and then it just kind of dies. Which is such a drag, because it would be such a beautiful experience to have it be a singing room.
It's a beautiful space.
But beyond that, the experience of people coming in there, there's no late night clubs in Santa Fe, really, especially jazz clubs. I mean, this is, the gig there for me was 9:30 to 12:30.
Which is what broke my heart when the Andalus closed down that room that we were doing. It was great.
Which is something also I wanted to bring up
midnight.
And talk to you about. Yeah. So
it was great.
That's a great transition into talking about that and performing now. You, for many years from when I initially met you, talked about how you had a regular gig and you had your own club.
Yeah.
And you had this opportunity that you had created for yourself to have a place to perform in a home.
Yeah.
And in my experience of seeing you most recently did that again with your residency that you had over at Hotel Andalus.
Yeah, which was amazing. It was, they had this beautiful room there that had been a nightclub years ago, and then they just abandoned it and just left this room there. And then they had a manager that I had been working, because I had been at the Andalus for a few years, and then his name is Chris Jacoby. He came to me one day and he says, walk with me over here. Yeah. And so I go into this room, which Jose Ponce had actually taken me to, like maybe 2 years previously, and said, this would be a perfect room for your club. Yep. And then it came around where Chris came and he's like, I've got this idea. I'd like to do this old school kind of jazz thing. And you're the only one that would fit the bill for what I'm wanting to do here. Fantastic. They redid the room, did the sound, they did all this stuff. And then 2 weeks after we started in there, he left to go to Texas for another job.
Are you serious?
And so the heart and soul behind the idea of it was gone. And then, when people have little imagination, if they're not seeing that, then they have, they start looking at the reasons why not to do something. In the meantime, we were doing great in that room. Really good crowds every weekend. So we had good crowds. People were eating.
I remember attending it. It was an experience.
People were eating. People were drinking. They were making money in there. And then one day they decided to cut it down from Friday and Saturday to just Friday. And then
of course,
just Fridays.
The natural progression. Slowly they cut it down.
Slowly.
But how long did you have that standing there?
We were there for over 7 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and every week.
Even just to have that statement of something, Tracey, as I'm sure you know, is it's an awesome thing to see in town, because there isn't really very many places that have that type of experience of having a residency, creating a niche, creating a place for you to go be there. And every good thing has to come to an end. You know what I mean? But
that didn't need to come to an end.
Like it could have been a nice thing to have held as one of the staples, right?
It's like it was the only club in the state of New Mexico that was like, I don't want to say after hours because it was till midnight.
No, but I mean, it was
everything else was closed by 10.
It was the experience,
and they were
put
there,
forward.
and so it was.
There have been a couple that
the
kind of
late night people
popped up and did that, but I mean, what you did was awesome.
Yeah, and then people were coming because they could come late and eat and drink and be like adults in a real nightclub setting.
How we should feel in a big city.
Yeah, but the Hilton took over there, and
corporate.
And so it went from that to Hilton. And
now, not to single out Andaluz or any other hotel or any other gig as us musicians that have to deal with bureaucracy or corporate obstacles that make paying the musicians
corporate obstacles. I love that.
Well, they make paying the musicians such a task. You know what I mean?
Right.
What is up with that? What do you think about that? You know what I mean? Like a place paying you 2 weeks after you do the performance.
2 weeks after. You're lucky you get paid a month.
You think so?
A month after.
All right.
I know that most places that I play, we get paid the same day.
Yeah.
But then there are some that, it's
take
like
a
month, and what is that all about? It's not like they don't have the money. Why are you
Tell me why
acting like
is that
people
right? You know what I mean? It's
don't need to pay their mortgage?
Yeah. The reality is like John Rangel made a funny joke about it, and it was with in respect to the Hotel Andaluz gig. He says, "Oh yeah, you're gonna pay me in a couple weeks? Well, I'm just gonna take this couch right now until you pay me, and then I'll bring it back when you pay me, okay? Because I need something right now. I just gave you a service. I'm gonna need something in return." And I was like, "I loved you, John. Thank you for that, man."
That's hysterical.
But I mean,
it's gonna hold a hostage till I get my money.
Yeah, you want to hold my money? I'm gonna hold something of yours.
Right.
But I mean, we're dealing with a friend of mine that we know, and a gig that is taking over 2 months now to pay us.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, that's just a reality. And it's the reality of being a musician and dealing with all aspects of playing with places that have to deal with bureaucracy or whatever they have to deal with that makes them be like, okay, we'll pay you when we're ready,
Right.
It's like,
once again, it's the devaluing of art. Everybody else gets paid, but the musicians can wait. And the musicians typically are the ones that need the money the
most. You know what I mean? It's like,
if we're living on that, I can't do something
gig to gig, check
2
to
months
check.
later.
Come on,
it's like, this is how we make our living. And for whatever reason, art is just something, and that's not a new concept. Art has always been undervalued. And I mean, think about the artists, painters and sculptors, and people like you and your family.
Sure.
Sometimes those people, their art doesn't make money until after they die.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
They don't even see any of it. So they're doing all this work, they're struggling, but once they die, it's not valuable. For whatever reason, people just don't value art, and art is life. Music is life.
It's also just become such a commodity. It's become such an available thing too, right? That you feel like you can dispose of it so easily, or not give the true not just admiration, but appreciation for what it is and what service it's doing. Tell me a little bit about, your work with the Albuquerque Music Union,
With the union.
Tell me about that. How'd you get into that? And what's that like? I mean, what is the Albuquerque Music Union about? I mean, I've been a musician
The Musicians
for many years
Association of Albuquerque, Local 618 of the American Federation of Musicians. So the federation is 90,000 members strong worldwide. And that's mostly American musicians, but it is worldwide. The Musicians Association has been in Albuquerque since 1915.
Wow.
Yeah, 1915. The union has been in town, and 99.9% of my members are the New Mexico Philharmonic, Santa Fe Symphony, and Santa Fe Opera musicians. Although I'm a member of the local has not previously really made a lot of sense for somebody like me or you or what we consider to be freelance musicians.
Yes.
Those are musicians that are not working with a collective bargaining agreement.
Right.
We're doing hotels and restaurants and things like that. And so it doesn't make sense for us. What I'm doing as the new president, I've been there almost 2 years now, is that the Federation gives grants and monies every year to do what they call freelance co-funding. They're doing money to put music back in schools. They're giving money to put people to work like in senior centers and things. So you go and you do your gig and everybody gets paid. Previously, we have not taken advantage of that money for years and years. I'm taking advantage of that money. And what I'm hoping is that I'm going to be able to start getting freelance musicians in the union because I'll be providing opportunities for them to play.
Incentives for them to be a part
and
of
get,
it.
And get paid scale, union scale. So it's really important to me that that the union represents all of our musicians. I'm also doing I'm partnering. So what we've done is that I partnered with the New Mexico Philharmonic to help fund part of one of our members is his name is Richard White, and he's a tubist.
The famous Mr. Richard White of the University of New Mexico.
Yeah, of the University of New Mexico. He's also on our board, but Richard had a documentary.
Is it Dr. Richard White, isn't it?
Dr. Richard Antoine White.
Thank you, right, all right.
And
he's the man. I doubt he remembers me, but I remember him very well from the university days.
Oh, he's fantastic. And
amazing.
They just did a documentary. A film company did a documentary about his life, which was insane.
Yeah.
And so I partnered with the Philharmonic to put musicians as part of this screening that they did. Beautiful. So that was one thing that we wanted to do. I've partnered with the New Mexico Jazz Workshop.
Yep. We're good.
So I partnered with the New Mexico's Jazz Workshop to do a big concert next month. Well, June 22nd.
Really?
We're putting strings with the Albuquerque Jazz Orchestra with Bobby Shue.
Of course, I heard quite a bit about this show. I didn't know that you also had a leg in that.
We're putting 10 string players on that concert.
How beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, and trying to figure out a way to do a partnership with the Outpost because, I want, we've been here, like I said, over 100 years.
That's crazy.
And most people don't know that we're here.
Right. I was going to suggest that I bet most musicians that I was to call up right now and ask if they even knew that y'all existed, the majority would say no.
They would say no.
It's the truth.
I became a member of the union because I believe in unions.
Yeah.
And so in LA, which is where I'm from, if you were going to do anything big, concerts, TV, anything like that.
Had to be part of the union.
You had to be part of the union. Yep. So we were union when I was a kid. My family was a singing group.
Tell me about that. You got to get into that as well. Come on now.
Yeah, my family was a singing group. So Okay, let's talk about that. So my mom.
Is it family Tracey, family Whitney?
No, it was the Whitney family.
Excuse me.
No. That was, but before there was the Whitney family.
Yes.
My mother Louise, my aunt Mary, the one that was in Wonderlove, and my uncle Jimmy, who toured with Santana and people. They had their own little group called Whitney, Whitney, and Whitney. I know, right? So
awesome.
They would be rehearsing all the time.
Yes.
Upstairs, and the kids would be downstairs. And so when we were little, like I was 11.
Yes.
And my brothers and we started our own little, rehearsing ourselves because the Jackson 5 had just come out and every kid in the world wanted to be a member of the Jackson 5. And so one day my mom, who toured with Johnny Otis and Solomon Burke and, just did stuff. They were doing stuff. So one day my mom hears us singing and she's like, are those my kids? Next thing you knew, we were performing and we did our first show at the Coconut Grove. Wow. That was our first show. And we were so excited. We didn't know that we were supposed to be nervous. And so I didn't get nervous until we were done. And it was like, oh my God, what did we just do?
Wow.
And then we just started singing. We started performing, right? And we performed all the time. So we did, we did Vegas and Tahoe and we toured and we recorded. We had a Billboard magazine top singles pick. Wow. It was crazy. And I performed with my family until I was 20 or so. So from 11 to about 20. Mm-hmm. And then I started singing on my own. And then I got a call from Ray Charles.
What?
Yeah, I got a call. Mr. Charles would like to see you tomorrow. That was on a Wednesday to audition for him. And so that was Wednesday I got the call. Thursday I show up for my audition. He was supposed to be there. He couldn't make it. Wow. I left a tape. Remember the old days? Cassette tape?
A cassette tape.
Here's my little demo. I got a call that night. Mm-hmm. You got the gig. We start rehearsal tomorrow. So Friday. Sunday, we were at the Hollywood Bowl doing the Playboy Jazz Festival. And Monday, we were in Denver. And that was how fast that happened.
Wow.
And
no shit.
Yeah.
All right. So what was audition like? What was that?
I didn't even do the audition because
you showed up, gave them a tape, and that's it.
Yeah, because he wasn't there for the audition. They listened to the tape and they were like, "Okay, she's got the gig."
What was the tape? Do you remember what specifically? Like maybe not even the song, but like what context it was? Like you singing with your family or
no?
What?
It was just me.
Just singing solo.
Just some little
with a band or solo.
How did I have the music on there? I don't even remember. It might have been a cappella. I don't even remember. So cool. It was just my little demo.
Sure.
Right. I mean, that was so long ago.
And take me back. What year is this? What
91. I did the Pepsi tour. Wow. Remember, you got the right one, baby. Uh-huh. So I did that Pepsi tour, and which was really interesting because I'm going to tell you, it was brutal. Not the music, but
the road.
The road. They didn't pay per diem.
Whoa.
We had to pay our own hotel.
What?
We got paid with money orders in California money orders in different states, and so you never knew if somebody was going to cash your check or not. And so, dude, sometimes I had a Coke and a bag of chips for the entire day. Because I had to hold on to my money to pay my hotel because I didn't know when, know.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, do you remember what the gigs were paying like back then?
I was making $800 a week.
Shit. I mean, nowadays, that was then, and nowadays musicians go on the road for less than that,
Well, $800 a week, and I had to pay all my own expenses.
Of course. But I mean, I'm saying,
Yeah, I made less money.
That's great money.
I was broke when I got home.
Shit. Of course, because of all the expenses.
Of all
every
the
hotel,
expenses. I didn't make a dime on that gig.
Of course.
But,
did they ever treat you to food?
No, we had to pay for everything. Everything. But I will say that the currency of that name
was worth way more than
$800
my God. A week, all day.
Ray Charles Ray led. Come on now, that has taken me so far. Because there are lots of bands and lots of people that you can perform with, but they don't have their own standalone name. But everybody knows what a Raylette is.
And being connected with that is,
currency, man.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
So,
I'll tell you one crazy thing, though.
Tell me.
I bet you would never have guessed this. I got a call one time. This guy goes, this is Blackie Lawless.
Blackie Lawless?
Blackie Lawless.
Okay.
You know Blackie Lawless? Wasp. Remember that heavy metal supergroup Wasp?
No, but I'm pulling them up.
Oh
right
my God,
now.
pull up Wasp. So I get this call. The guy goes, this is Blackie Lawless. And I'm like, who is this? Luckily, I knew who they were because my mom, like I said, had such an eclectic collection of music. And so we go back and forth because I thought the person was pulling my leg. And finally he goes, no, actually, I'd like for you to do a session for me.
What?
Like, how did you even get my number, dude? Right? So I go up there and there he is, up in the Hollywood Hills. I'm at his house. I'm doing this, an album. It was supposed to be Blackie's solo album,
Wow.
But that never happened. And it ended up on a Wasp, Still Not Black Enough CD. And so I started getting emails from people going, is this the same Tracey Whitney that's on Still Not Black Enough? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because that wasn't, it wasn't a Wasp album, right? And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh my God, there I am on all these credits.
Wow.
But yeah, they were like one of those super groups. Yeah.
Wow.
Heavy metal.
Still not black enough.
Still not black enough. Yeah.
God damn. Look at this.
I did a song called
crazy.
Scared to Death, I think is what it was. But
Wow.
yeah, you would get like these calls from people. How did Ray Charles, how did I end up on their radar?
You tell me. Look at
there
you.
There it is.
There you are
Right.
on Wikipedia. Get out, Tracey. Come
Look
on
at
now.
that.
All right. On Wasp's album, Still Not Black Enough.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Yeah, and when I got back home
So that was after being a Raylette, or that was during the time of being a Raylette,
That was
right?
during, yeah. That was right around the same time. But I don't know how he got my number. I don't know how I ended up on their radar. I don't know how that happened. And then I went to Japan for 5 years after that. And so I gigged over there, had a fantastic time. And I ended up doing session work with Japanese superstars, doing concerts with them, doing, stuff. And, it's been a good life.
It's beautiful. Now you were born into it. Now your family really,
Yeah.
your career and your lifestyle preceded you, right?
Yeah.
Now, are your siblings also, because you told me you're one of 8, is that correct?
I'm one of 8, and we were called the Whitney family, and we all performed together, but I'm the last one standing.
Last one still doing music,
I'm
right?
the last one. Wow. Yeah.
And what do your siblings say,
Oh, they love it. They love it. My sister Cookie, she's still, every now and then she'll do a gig.
Do a concert, a hit every once in a while?
Yeah, she'll do it.
I was just at the bar playing. It's like,
yeah.
It's awesome.
Y'all pass me that bottle. I'll sing you a real song. Now, if you can tell me what that's from.
I can't.
Oh, that's Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, what?
My Old Friend.
Wow.
That's how it starts.
I love Jimmy. I don't know that song.
Well, I see you've got Jimmy up on your...
Jimmy was probably of my most heavy influences, and it's so crazy
How
growing
do you
up.
not know that song?
Tell me what album it was off of. Do you remember?
Oh gosh, no.
Still
But my
Not
mom
Friend?
had it.
Let me look it up. Let's see.
My Old Friend.
My Old Friend.
I'm looking through Harlem. Stomach squeals just a little more. Oh,
My Only Friend.
My Old Friend.
My Old Friend. My Friend. Is
Well,
that what
it
it's
should.
called?
That's it. I think it's actually called My Old
I don't
Friend.
know if we'll be able to hear this while we're listening to everything here, but look at that. The Cry of... How have I never heard this album, Tracey?
I don't know.
All right. I'm gonna save
You're gonna
this
have
right
to,
here.
yeah,
and
you gotta
I'm
check
gonna
that out
this
when I
out so
got-
I'm not getting in trouble with any copyright.
Oh, glad I could turn you on to something you didn't know.
That is
I'm like,
awesome.
how does he not know that? He's got Jimmy on the wall.
Yeah, Jimmy is my man. It was like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy,
I love
some of the
Stevie Ray
older
Vaughan.
blues guys like Robert Johnson and
Of course.
Big Bill Broonzy and and then into some of the jazz guys. But I mean, for me, my love of guitar and who I wanted to be just like with Jimmy, and we were talking off air. But I mean, the crazy life once you get older and read and really understand where he was at. I mean, at just 2 years ago, at where I was being 27 years old and having lived the life that he lived up to that point,
Yeah.
so crazy, as you grow older and realize the trajectory of someone's life and
Yeah.
them having accomplished all that they did, in that short amount of time. I'm 29 now, which is not to say that I'm, older or anything, but I mean, I feel
I could
like
be your mother, literally, and then some.
But I feel like when I hit 27, I was just like, whoa, like this is what age Jimmy was when he was at his peak.
Right.
Not I mean, not to say that he was at the peak of where he could have been. I'm saying the height of everything that I came to know of him, because I learned everything of his career. So even obviously before that, so I met him at 26, at 25, at 24, at 23. I mean, it's crazy to see. And then, not to say compare your life, but I mean, when you look up to someone and aspire as a young kid to want to have a life and live a career just like they did, and then you see the career they did and you pass that age and you're like, wow,
I was watching this Janis Joplin documentary the other day, Little Girl Blue. Uh-huh. And of course she passed at 27 too. And then, but the thing that struck me while I was watching that was that me and Bobby McGee, sitting on the dock of the bay, the change is going to come.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, Janis Joplin, what we could say would probably be the three of their biggest hits, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They all died before those songs came out.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So Bobby McGee, Dock of the Bay, and A Change Is Gonna Come, huge hits, and they were all posthumous. Wow. They all had passed like within 2 or 3 months or so of those songs ever hitting the airways, and they never... Not
in any way to say had they not have died, like hoping that they didn't die. But I mean, you wonder what impact those songs would have had they continued to be alive.
Right.
Because obviously the power of someone passing away adds that much more into the story of finding out who they were. Like, like some recent people who have passed away are these 2 rappers that I'm thinking about. One person named Nipsey Hussle that just passed away, and I didn't know anything about his musical career.
Yeah, I don't know anything about his music.
I saw all of the outburst of love on social media.
Yeah.
And even then a little before
President
that.
Obama mentioned him.
I mean, come on,
Right?
And even before that, a young guy named Mac Miller, who's even younger and had his own impact on the musical, on the music world.
Don't know anything about.
But I didn't know anything about him either until he passed away, and I heard about it. Did you listen to
the music?
I listened to his music as well as saw his discography. The amount of work he'd done up to the point that he died.
Wow.
He died, I think, at 26 years old or something like that, or 25, 26. And he did so much, but
he had all those tattoos, right?
Yeah, all tatted up.
Right.
But I mean, not even just to say with them, the allure of someone having achieved so much and then passing away, and then you taking that opportunity to look over their life's work, allows you almost the opportunity to fall in love with who they are as an artist even more,
Yeah.
And those artists having had a song come out right before their passing, of course, added not just for being such a powerful song, but then being what we have of them, the most recent thing that we have of them, and
but they were also, it wasn't just that, it was the most, they were phenomenal works.
Upon themselves, totally.
All on that, phenomenal works, whether had lived another 40 years.
Right, whether their deaths are not were connected to it,
But, I mean, come on. That's really kind of...
It's powerful.
I said, wow, they all passed before those songs were... I didn't realize that Janis Joplin, that Bobby McGee, she never performed it in concert. And she was just like, one day, why don't we sing? And then I saw in the documentary that Chris Christopherson, of course, he wrote that song, and he said he was tickled when he found out that she was going to sing it, but she never got to hear it.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
So,
life, huh?
Tell me a little bit about what you've got coming up, because I know you've got some pretty exciting shows coming up in June and July. And as we near towards the end, and I want to make sure that I get these right. So first, tell me about this Nancy Wilson tribute that you're going to be doing.
So Nancy Wilson was actually a family friend. When I was a kid, she actually told me, I think I was 17 or so. She's like, Trace, your voice was made for ballads. You should really do ballads. Her son, Casey, who was with her former husband, Casey Dennis, he was a drummer. He was my little sister's boyfriend. So that's how we ended up, our families coming together. But she was such an influence to me over the years because what a vocal stylist, just she did wonderful music. And so 2 years ago, was it a year ago? 2 years ago, I did a tribute to her at APAC, the African American Performing Arts Center, and she actually sent flowers.
Oh, wow.
To the concert. Yeah, she sent me flowers, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, on stage, they bring up the flowers. I start crying. But anyway, so I did that concert, that tribute to her, before I realized that she was ill.
Wow.
And so she was ill.
Wow.
And then she passed not long after, but I'm going to be doing that concert again at the Outpost on July 5th. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And it just has even that much more meaning to me now, that she's gone. But I love that I was able to do the tribute to her. And she knew that a tribute was being done.
That's beautiful.
Before she passed.
I mean,
yeah.
What awesome timing, as well as what a beautiful gesture,
Isn't that crazy?
It's been how long since she passed?
She passed. It's been a year, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a year. That was a heartbreak. She was a sweet woman. She was a really nice lady.
Now, next to that, also in the month of July, you're going to be doing a beautiful tribute to Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole.
With someone pretty special, right? Tell me a little bit about this concert.
Yeah, with Horace Alexander Young. And speaking of John Rangel, he'll be playing John Trinacosta, Colin Dubel.
Oh, yeah.
And me. Yeah, so Horace is a saxophone player. He's toured and played with all kinds of jazz greats. And he and I did a concert at the Outpost a couple of years ago, and that's where we met. And that day he said, you know what, we should do a show together at some point.
Oh,
and I'm like,
awesome.
Okay. Right? Because how often do people say that?
Right.
Then,
they don't really mean it. Yeah.
Right. And so he called me about a month or so ago, and he was like, remember that I said I wanted to do those shows with you? And I'm like, yeah. So he asked if I was available. So we're doing Nat King Cole at 100. So we're going to be doing that at Paradiso?
Up in Santa Fe.
In Santa Fe on the 19th, and then Summerfest here in Albuquerque on the 20th.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So those are a couple things I'm really looking forward to. And not just my regular little gigs, but...
How exciting. Well, it's a pleasure just like getting into the initial part of our conversation, because I know we're going to have another conversation soon, and maybe even bring some more people in, because
nice.
I love the opportunity to talk about the current scene as it is in Albuquerque, the music scene, the jazz scene, the freelance musician scene, the gigging life, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. When I moved here, I had no idea how much music was going on. I moved here because I had a voice woke me up at like 4 a.m. and said, you have to move to Albuquerque.
What?
And I was like, what the hell? Albuquerque? Why would I move to Albuquerque?
Was it some man? Was it some?
It was just a voice, and I sat up at 4 a.m. and as loud as just loud. You have to move to Albuquerque. It actually said the word Albuquerque.
Wow.
And
did you have any connection with the city before?
I have a cousin. That lived here, and his family, my uncle's son, Delano. And he went by the name DJ D back in the day. I guess he was a DJ here.
Nice.
And but for a year, I was like, I'm not moving to Albuquerque. And I had like a big ass life in LA, right? But he wouldn't let me go.
Albuquerque, it's like big city.
Yeah, it would not let me go. And I came, just to get that monkey off my back. And I was like, oh my God, I love this place. No, it took me another 3 years to get here, but I was obsessed.
So you initially came and just checked it out.
And it was like a tunnel.
Wow.
Like I just went through this thing and like, whoosh. I said, oh my God, I'm home.
Now, when was that initial dream? How long ago was that?
That was I've lived here since 2012. So I'd say about 2009.
Wow.
Yeah. I love this town. It's been really good to me.
That's awesome.
And there was so much music. I had no idea.
There's so much. I mean,
there's so much
for
music.
the people that move here, it's like there's not that much work. But I mean, beyond that, there are so many treasures, like gems of musicians that have done so many big things and live here.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and you
the
get
people that live here.
Oh
like,
yeah, you get
are
to interact with them.
kidding?
It's amazing. Yeah, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Tootie Heath lives up in Santa Fe. Seriously?
Yeah. Well, come on, Michael Anthony, Uncle Mike.
I mean, yeah, I
Right?
ain't even got to get started on my Uncle Mike. You know, I love that
know.
man. People know my praises for him.
And you
but,
know he's on the board of directors for the Musicians Union too.
So that was the final thing that I wanted to bring up. I'm glad you said that. Is how can people find out more about the Albuquerque music?
So they can go to afm618.org.
Say that one more time for me, a little slower.
afm618.org.
Okay.
And that's our website, and it gives them a little background, and if they want to join and all that kind of stuff. They can call the local if they want. You want that phone number?
Well, what's that phone number? Tell me, because I'm going to put
505
Yeah.
255 2069.
Beautiful. So I'm going to also include this information within the description of the podcast so people afterwards can, of course, just
And if
look
they
down.
want to find out about me.
Tell me your website, right?
Right. So that's babydollentertainment.com.
babydollentertainment.com.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
got my
excited.
schedule and everything.
This has been such a treat to talk to you. And as you can see, the conversation just moves so naturally and freely. So you've also brought some music. So of course, once we get off air, I'm going to see about getting some of that music and maybe playing a little bit of
That'd be
something
wonderful.
that you love for me to play.
Yeah.
And definitely keep an eye out for Tracey's show in July. And
Shows in July.
Oh, yeah. Her many shows coming up, but
Yeah.
the three big shows that are going to be happening in July.
Right.
And so thank you again so much for being on Art Talk Music, my dear Tracey.
Claudio, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to having you come to my house and doing some artwork for me.
Yes. I'm excited about that. It's so weird because we're ending the conversation right now, but I'm like, you're missing the last question, but we asked the last question at the very beginning of the podcast.
Right. Green onions, dude.
I love it.
Booker T and the MGs.
Hey, maybe I'm going to play that a little bit of that on my way out too.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Tracey.
I love you.
I love you too, my dear.
Thank you.
That is the episode with Miss Tracey Whitney. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for checking out the podcast. And I played a bit of this at the beginning after the intro, but this is Tracey Whitney live at the Outpost featuring a wonderful band. And of course, she will present them all. This is Oh, What a Beautiful Morning.
Good evening, Outpost. Oh my God, you guys look amazing. Hello. Friends, family, and thank you, Tom. Yay! We're really good friends, and you can tell, right? Well, I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening. We're going to have a fabulous time. All right, I got a great band up here for you guys. Sid Finley is on piano. Milo Jaramillo is on the bass. John Bartlett's on the drums. Paul Gonzalez on trumpet. Demi DeSanti is on the guitar, and these guys really came through for me with this, so I'm just so grateful to be playing with these awesome guys. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with a little something. I can never remember what movie this thing came from, but I know it from Brother Ray, better known as Ray Charles. And I try to always do a little something for him because he was my boss at a time. When I was a Ray Charles Ray lad, yeah. That was hard work, y'all. But phenomenal. So let's do a little, oh, what a beautiful morning. There's a bright golden haze in the meadow. A bright golden haze in the meadow. Corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. It said, oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. You know I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything is going my way. The cattle are standing statues. The cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me walk by. Oh, the little brown maverick is winking her eyes. She said, oh, what a beautiful morning. She said, oh, what a beautiful day. You know I've got a beautiful feeling. I said everything is going my way. Take it, Paul. Give me a little something on that. Take it, Sid. Well, the sounds of the earth are like music. The sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy, it don't skip a tree. And a little old weeping willow is laughing with me. She said, oh, what a beautiful morning. She said, oh, what a beautiful day. You know I've got a beautiful feeling. I said everything is going my way. I said everything going my way. I got a beautiful feeling. Today's my day. When I woke up this morning, I said, I think it's gonna be my day. Everything going my way. Thank you. I told you guys about this band, right? Oh yeah, that's lovely.